Of course, we got an audio file here to take care of it on the other end. Roger, it's so wonderful to be in conversation with you again. It's been a few years since we last connected on Bad Faith. Everyone
It
here has heard me
has.
talk all day, so I want to really turn it over to you and maybe start by telling us why it's so important for you to be supporting the Greens. Butch just spoke about your incredible and generous donation to help him in his gubernatorial race. Why, especially given the enormous backlash that so many artists and other public figures have faced for supporting third parties, has it been so important for you to stay connected with the Greens and stay so supportive?
Uh, you can't be bought. That's it. It's as simple as that. I was thinking about this earlier today, and I thought, what? Why is it that we need uh, a third parties, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or other voices? And the answer is because the GOP and the Democrats have been bought, and they're bought and paid for, and they do whatever they're. Can I use the F word? Whatever they're fucking told, and it's disgusting. And the Green Party, Jill, right, and Butch, and my other friends there, cannot be bought because they heed a moral compass. And I've watched them doing it. And I've just been watching for the last 20 minutes, right, raising $100 here and $100 there, and I kept trying to stick my hand up and say, oh, match and oh, this and that, the other, because I do have a bigger kind of war chest than many other people did, simply because my work in the music industry has been successful and I've made a few quid. And so I've got a few quid to spend. And this is what I want to spend it on. So I'll stop talking now, Brianna, because I want to hear what. Love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
No.
But it's funny you say that because earlier on a media panel, one of the questions toward the end was, what do you say to people who want to do independent media to advance left interests? How can people help in this space? And I didn't answer that question up here, but one of the things I wanted to say was, well, there are people who have been incredibly influential and helpful. People like Ms. Rachel, for instance, who, because they were famous in other areas, because they were good at other things, were then able to use the public credibility they had and the resources they have to advance the interest of, in her case, Palestine. And so I really am appreciative of people like you who have been willing to do that. My question for you now is, was there a tipping point for you when you realized that the duopoly wasn't satisfying your own personal politics? And I ask that especially as someone who, like, I think probably many people in the room under 45-ish who are probably radicalized by Bernie Sanders and for whom that was the sort of disillusionment phase. What for you in the trajectory of your life and your political history was the moment when you realized that third parties were the way to go?
Ralph Nader standing up and being counted, and also standing up and did he not present himself as a potential presidential candidate? Sort of saying, I'm a human being and I believe in human rights and I care about my brothers and sisters. And the two parties that you all vote for every time couldn't give a shit about their brothers and sisters. They're absolutely only interested in the rights of the oligarchs and the ruling elite to make profit. And you are slaves just as much as all the people in all the countries that the Europeans conquered over the last 500 years and turned into slaves, to support the lifestyles of, the Queen and the Queen Mother and Prince Charles. And I don't mean to pick the UK out specifically, but you hear what I'm saying. We've all watched the last few hundred years of history, or we've read about it, or we haven't read about it. We should have read about it. And the fact of the matter is that if we don't wrest power from the people who have been bought by the ruling elite, the planet will be over very, very soon. We see it happening before our very eyes. So we need independent voices who are guided by a moral compass by truth and love. And forget the Democrats and the Republicans. They are history. They're puppets, and they've been bought, all of them. So F them. And so, yeah, come on, you guys. I mean, no, I'll stop talking now because it's easy to wrap it
We
up.
definitely want to hear you talk. We want to hear you talk. I know that I've been feeling a little bit of optimism. It can be hard, but looking at the UK Greens, for instance, it feels like at least they have capitalized on this moment in history where I think there's growing dissatisfaction with the two-party system. And whereas we were beating our heads against the wall in 2016 to make people realize they deserved health care, these days the public perception of the Democrats are pretty low. It's easier in some ways to talk to people about the ways that the duopoly has failed them. And in the UK, at least, this is manifested in some particularly significant political gains. Does that give you any sense of optimism, or are you feeling like this moment has more opportunities than have existed in decades past?
I'm trying to remember what the leader, the Green guy is. He's
Zelensky?
Polish. Polensky, exactly. And he's been accused of being an anti-Semite and whatever
Naturally. Yeah.
because he's against the genocide in Palestine. And as we know, Briahna, you and I and Jill and Birch and this guy in England, we're against all genocides everywhere whenever they happen. We're against the denial of any human being to the right to life, obviously, but it's all very, very obvious. So unfortunately, the political systems that we're exposed to by the mainstream media have all been wrapped up in cotton wool and candy to pretend that it has something to do with democracy. It doesn't. It only has to do with supporting Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Gates, or no, whatever, Bill Gates and blah, to make themselves into trillionaires at the expense of the rest of us. And I like to feel that I care about the rest of us, and I know you do, and I know Jill does, and I know Butch does, and I know these arseholes don't. And it's a joke. It's one big joke. And America is an absolute joke. On the world stage, the United States of America is a complete joke, but it's a really, really bad joke because they will destroy the world. If you allow the Democrat, and it's not Trump. People go, oh, it's Trump, the orange monster and the black. No, it's not. It's the fact that you've allowed neoliberal capitalism and the neocons and the idea of the American century for whatever to overtake your natural humanity. Okay. And you have it. You know, my mum, who visited the United States of America before the Second World War, I remember her saying to me often, you know, darling, when I was in America and I traveled around, I was in Ohio and I was in Texas and I was at this Girl Scout camp and that, blah, blah, blah. You know, the Americans, at heart, they're very good people. And she said, you know the old adage of good neighbors to rebuild the barn. Very hospitable and very kind and very this and that, but they're very, very naive. And I've never forgotten my mum said that. And it's so true. You're not bad people, you Americans. I'm looking at the camera. You're not bad. You're just not, you're very, very naive to believe the bullshit that is handed you by both the major parties. And it's not just the Republicans. It's not just Trump. We were talking, or you were, Briahna, about Bernie Sanders earlier, who was a little bit of he occasionally said something that might have benefited the working class or ordinary people, or, if you could put it another way, the huge majority of everybody who lives here. Okay, possibly. But I remember in 2019, when this awful country, the United States of America, tried to overturn the legitimately democratically elected government of Venezuela by imposing a guy called Guaido, Bernie Sanders agreed with it. Well, has he never read a book? Did he never listen to the other side of a conversation? He just believed all the absurd bullshit about Maduro being a drug smuggler that they're selling again now. But they've gone overboard now. Now they're just insane gangster pirates. They have no interest in international law, and I do. I am a child of the Second World War. On June the 25th or whatever it was in 1945, when the United Nations wrote the Charter, the 51 articles, they absolutely declared that sovereign nations had sovereignty, and all that's been thrown out the window because these motherfuckers have no interest in it. All they care about, Briahna, is well, I want to. Sorry, I'll stop.
No, don't. You're on a roll. You're on a roll. Yeah, I was saying this to Craig Mokhiber. I've said it to him 1,000 times. We all are so appreciative of the courage that he showed walking away from the UN after this long career, and the investment so many of us have made in these institutions that were supposed to stand for the common good. My own mother, as he knows, worked for the UN for 17 years and was similarly disgruntled and very frustrated at the realization that these institutions that are supposed to be the last bastion protecting the weak, an organization that was founded in the wake of World War II, is not living up to its potential when it was designed exactly for the kind of moment we are in with the genocide in Palestine. And I think for me, sometimes it leaves me with a sense of despondency because we're told rely on the Constitution, rely on the law, rely on international law, rely on these institutions. And what happens when all of that falls away? And we know that we are overwhelmed by the duopoly and the corporate media that prevents us from getting our message out, even though we know that the people agree with our agenda, that our agenda is a populist one. And so it does feel in this moment like I'm ping-ponging constantly between sort of nihilism and an incredible optimism, because it does feel like this moment is pregnant with opportunity. What would you like to see happen as we are in this moment where I do think people are uniquely receptive to a Green Party message, to a socialist message, to a leftist message, however you care to characterize it. What is your sort of fantasy vision of how the next 2 or 3 years go, where it does feel like because of where we are in these electoral cycles and the amount of attention electoral cycles draw to politics and expanding the realm of what we think is possible in this world? Is there anything that you would like to see?
Well, my optimism, such as it is, derives from the work of people like Francesca Albanese and her attachment to and relationship with the dock workers in Italy. They're called the USB. And I have a relationship with them now too, because I've helped them and they've helped me, but we reach across the ocean because, and this is fundamentally important, how can we possibly figure out what to do about this? We do what Butch and Jill are saying, and you are saying, and I'm saying too now, is we are many and they are few. And when I say we are many, we're probably 7 billion. And there's probably about 1,000 of them. And well, I'm just saying. So we need to all stand up always. And the people in that room with you there tonight, who I've seen giving their $100 or $500 or whatever they're giving to try and, they're trying to make the voice of the choir, this choir, our choir, the people's choir, louder so that we can shout down the choir that is bought and paid for by the ruling elite. And unfortunately, because they own all of the mainstream media, they are Rupert Murdoch and this and that, the other, and Piers Morgan and all those other assholes who are shouting all the time. in order to say, no, what we're doing is right. And we will make a better world if you just keep giving us all your money. And we're going to do it by bombing the shit out of anyone who doesn't agree with us, or anyone who wants to share any of our trillions with ordinary people by giving them education or a health service or any kind of socialist. Socialism, ladies and gentlemen, is the answer. Obviously, it's been obvious since we learned to read. So we need to get the choir to make such a loud noise that we would just overturn it all. Because this is insane and disgusting what is going on with Keir Starmer or this new bloke in England. They're all the same. They're all sort of 16th century European imperialists who think they can rule the world and steal everything from everyone else. And where you can't, we won't let you.
It's interesting that you used those words, that we need a choir, because I've, in a couple of recent interviews, spoken with musicians, Saul Williams and Amanda Seales, about the role that music has historically played in revolution, music, poetry, art, and the like. And most recently with Amanda Seales, how it really feels like there's been a real deficit of political music, especially mainstream political music, the way that every jam you turned on the radio in the 70s, it seemed, or the 60s, was movement music without it being sort of siloed in its own category and genre. And we were musing on this and talking about the songs in the key of life and all of our favorite albums from that era. And I wonder if you've thought about or have anything to say about how important you think music and the arts play in galvanizing the public. Someone in the audience here says, give us a new song.
Well, Briahna, I wish I could expound on that, but it's not something I'm really interested in. I'm interested in what you do, what Jill does, and what Butch does, and what these people who are here this afternoon. I feel a chill of emotion running through me that there are people in this room, and even though we're a minority at the moment, that they believe, and they're right to believe, that they're right, because their love and their belief in human rights and truth, and believe in their absolute need to empathize with their brothers and sisters across national borders and any borders of religion. It doesn't matter. We're all human beings. There's only one race, the human race. And they believe that. And that's what's important. Frankly, I couldn't give a fuck about music. I'm not... sorry.
That's really interesting to me. Can I ask? This is maybe unorthodox. Can I ask the audience? I mean, how do you feel about that? I was having a conversation with someone a little bit ago about just the optics and graphics and merch and those kinds of things, and how those can make you feel like you want to be a part of something. I think for whatever you feel about Zoran's, substantive politics or what he's doing in that role, or whether he's sheepdogging, it's undeniable that he's gotten a lot of people who are politically disengaged plugged in part because it just looks cool. It looks like a vibe. It looks like something you want to be a part of. He's printing out soccer jerseys that like have his logo and stuff on them. And it's like, yeah, sure. He's got Americans that care about soccer now, so sorry, football. So, it is difficult for me. I can appreciate it, maybe from your perspective, feeling like not the most important thing. And I respect that. But I do wonder, does that aspect, that kind of cultural aspect of movements matter?
We need artists to help. We need musicians to push this too. Is that Jill?
Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Someone said we need artists, we need musicians to push this. Why do you feel that way? And do other people share that feeling?
I'm sure she's right. Whoever that was, I'm sure she's right, by the way.
Yeah, there was a lot of applause and hand raising to that idea. Can I ask someone why they think it's important? Actually, can you say this into the mic? Because I want him to be able to hear what you're saying. I think this is
Oh,
really important. Oh, perfect.
Music and the arts, it connects our brains and our hearts and our souls together. And your music, Roger, I'm old, but your music, there were days, there were times in our lives when your music kept us alive. It kept us alive and it moved us and it
oh,
nourished us in, yes, and it nourished us in such a fundamental way. And so it is so important. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Butch said it radicalized some of us as well. What do you make of that? What do you make of that, Roger?
oh, me. Well, I thought that was a beautiful speech. I want to leap through the screen and give that woman a hug. Because, oh, baby, thank you so much. I have slight chills to feel that I may have moved you a bit or whatever.
More than a bit.
Okay, more than a bit in the work that I've done over the years. But all I've done is sort of accept my humanity and express my need to empathize with others in the work that I did all the way through Pink Floyd and what I've done ever since. And I will keep doing until I'm too fucking old to do anymore. And it's not yet. I'm in there. You can see I'm in my studio at the moment, and we're in the middle of making a new album. It's called The Bar, and I'm whacking away at it day by day. We've stopped for a bit for me to do this thing, but I mean, I'm sure I don't mean to dismiss music and all of that because it's extremely important. Can it be a power for good? Yeah, of course it can. Yeah, of course it can. But it's the thinking, and it does disgust me that more people in my industry don't give a fuck about their brothers and sisters and don't stand up to be counted and won't even condemn the genocide. You know, I mean, it's all very well. You can go, with your fucking big lips, but no, stand up and say, unless you don't care. But the only inference from you not standing up, Mick Jagger, Elton John, the rest of you motherfuckers, is that you don't care. But you're living a very depleted life, my brothers, if you are my brothers. If you don't actually care about your brothers and sisters, because they're not like your immediate family or because it doesn't help your career or because whatever, you're living in a very diminished universe that I wouldn't wish to be a part of. And I wish you would join my universe and Brianna's universe and Jill and Butch's universe where we do give a shit about what happens to our brothers and sisters. And we are prepared to stand up and say, no, the Israeli state doesn't have a right to exist. Are you insane? They have brought hell on earth to the Middle East. Shouldn't be there, obviously. And you go, oh, shut up, careful, that's the end of your career. I've been told that so many times. All right. But it's the truth. You cannot have an ethno-racist organization like the State of Israel committing genocide, murdering men, women and children every day. And not just in Palestine, in Lebanon. And now they want to take over Jordan and bloody and create a greater Egypt. What do they want in the end? The whole world to be about murdering everybody who's not a Jew? Fuck you! That's insane. And we all know it. Why won't Mick Jagger say it's insane? I've no idea. But he should, in my view. But you see, you've set me off now, you lovely woman in your cafe.
Mick Jagger for you is my DSA.
Well, it doesn't matter what you call them.
Yeah.
Does it? It doesn't matter if it's Mick Jagger or the Is that democratic socialist something or other? Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, sorry. I don't mean to take on my baggage. Ignore me, ignore me. I'm just being silly and petty. We have another question from the audience here.
Well, I was just going to talk about music and the galvanizing impact it has from. I mean, I can think about get up, stand up for your rights, and Sly said stand, and it can shock us into to get us out of our complacency. I remember I got to a point where I had given up, and then Lupe said Gaza Strip was getting bombed, and Obama didn't say shit, and that kind of galvanized me to say, hey, you know what? He's right. We got to get out here, get on these streets again, and get back out here. So that music from the time Get Up, Stand Up, even until Lupe Fiasco and all that galvanized us, and that's what I want to say.
Brother, you give me chills, right? The brother there gives me chills. Like many, many years ago, after he died, but when, fucking hell, why can't I remember the name of the band that survived? Get Up, Stand Up for Your Rights. I went and sang on stage with them.
Whalers.
Yeah. The what? The Wailers. Yeah. The Wailers. And I went, I didn't know the song. And they said, here's a beer can. Hit it with this stick, and stand in the background. And I did. And I went, get up, stand up for your rights. Don't give up without a fight or whatever. And I felt good standing on that stage because Bob Marley was a huge hero to me. I mean, No Woman, No Cry in the government in Trenchtown or whatever so I'm with you, brother. And so I'm now arguing against myself. That changed my life when I was only 40 or something.
Well, that's great. Like, I think we all fall into these little cynicism ruts from time to time, and we have to be reminded. I mean, I've been bashful and saying, like, don't praise me today. But, it's true. I think it's worth sitting in the reality of what we have accomplished and not just begging off and not being kind of embarrassed and squeamish about it, and really appreciating, especially someone like you with your incredible legacy. It's hard sometimes, I think, when you're influencing someone from afar and music travels so far and it can feel so attenuated and we're all on Zooms and we're far away from each other over the last 5 years. But I really do want you to hear the energy in this room and the warmth that is pouring out to you from this room, the sincere gratitude for the connection that you've helped people to feel and the inspiration to politics and to act on their beliefs. I hope you can hear that applause, and I hope you can feel this.
I can't hear any of that. But I did go back. I played in Neve Shalom in 2006. I went back in 2008 or 9, and I wrote, "We don't need no thought control" on that wall in Bethlehem. Okay, and we don't. And yet, that every single baby born in Israel is subjected to intense thought control from the second that they come out of the womb to hate the indigenous people of Palestine and to kill them. So in a way, you could say, well, they're kind of weirdly innocent. They've just been taught this and they now believe it. My mother, bless her, she said, and it's in a film I made years ago called Swaddle, and I typed something. It's meant to be a young Roger typing. And I said, I remember my mother once saying to me, "Of course, darling, if the Germans had won the war, they would have killed me because I was a communist, but they would probably have kept you because you were tiny and brought you up as a good little Nazi." That is the fate of every child in Israel. They are brought up as good little Nazis. And that is so fucking sad. That makes me so sad for all those tiny children. No, that's not what they want. They need to be brought up and shown how to harvest olives, like the Palestinians did before they got there. I'm sorry to bang on.
Yeah. So no, don't apologize. So when you said write a song about it, I would say I do think that for me, one of the main values of music is that it does have a counter propagandistic effect, precisely because it's not always so obvious, right? People are tapping their foot and nodding their head and enjoying a tune, and the messaging can get in more subliminally than other forms of propaganda. Someone who might be an avowed Zionist might not turn into Bad Faith podcast, but they might turn on the radio and hear your messaging, and it might click for them. Maybe it's a song that's not even about Israel Palestine, but another conflict where they realize, oh, I'm on the wrong side of this ledger, and it applies to me in my life. And I think that's precisely why music, and you in particular, have been so powerful and so inspiring.
Well,
to so many people in this room.
Okay, well, what a shame it is that it's gone. It's all been stolen by Daniel Ek and Spotify. Musicians are no longer considered anymore.
Yeah, well,
Nobody gives a shit who wrote the songs or blah, blah, blah. So, and it's very easy for them to say, how about this? This is the problem with Zuckerberg and Daniel Ek and all those arseholes, is this, that they now, given the data banks and whatever, can go, write me a song in the style of Roger Waters from the golden years of Pink Floyd, but make it so that it's actually applauding the ruling class and the ruling elite and neoliberal capitalism or whatever, not against it. So, and they'll do that. And so when you're sitting listening to something on Spotify, dum, 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 or whatever, they can put any message they want in it. And they they will. And that's what's so sad. And that's why the people in that room with you this afternoon is so important, because they might turn out to be the beginning of this enormous choir that turns this ship around and starts pointing this ship towards a safe haven for all our brothers and sisters all over the world who are being exploited by the orange moron. He's just a puppet, by the way. It's not his fault. He was always a cretin, as we know. He's a failed, fat businessman, and that's all he is. But he's being paid to do a job, and so that's all it is. But yeah, this is cool to see you lot organizing. So good for you.
Yeah, it is. It is wonderful, and applause again to everyone in the room and who came out to this conference. This has been really, really extraordinary. Is that okay? More from the audience here.
Oh, you want to hold it? Okay, I'll keep this very quick, but I didn't have the opportunity to say this in the past, and I just want to say it now. Roger, you did a fundraiser with Matt Ho years ago. Matt Ho, he's a anti-imperialist who, was with the military, and he turned his back. And I was his campaign manager. And I'm just going to tell you something. I've met a lot of celebrities in my day, and some are horrible and some are nice, and everyone's human under the skin. But I seldom get nervous. Well, I was a little nervous with you because those other celebrities, I wasn't like scribbling your lyrics into books when I was a teenager and really depressed. But with you, I was. And I think what I was scared of was, if he's a dick, it's just going to ruin all my favorite music. It's just going to ruin it. And I got to do it. But things like that. And no, you made me love the music even more.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
But I will never say to people, Roger Waters is a nice guy, because I really felt the sense of, you wouldn't want me saying that. He's badass. He's all hard, but I just didn't get the feeling nice guy was the right way to describe you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey. By the way, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think I know like what you're getting at too, as far as a lot of times people like worship talent, and like we don't realize like the music that we listen to, they're just tools, and they're just like, they can be used for good and bad. They can have you worshiping things versus and wanting like diamonds and this and that, even though it's harming others. And yeah, like it's really just about I think what you're getting at is about like what are you doing? Like what is the message behind your song? How is that going to help the world around us? Because there's talented people that decided to make bombs. Like there's and like music is like a tool, the same as anything else. It can make you feel good, it can do good, but it can also do bad. And so yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I think that's what you were getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Roger, about Spotify, another aspect of it is I was talking about this with Amanda. You know,
Yeah.
what music makes it through, who gets published, who gets pushed by the radios, what is allowed to be popular and what's not. And when you look at musicians like Jay-Z, who were cited in the Epstein files as being used as a tool to get, you know, the Black community to buy into building the Barclays Stadium in a you know, that in a way that destroyed a community in downtown Brooklyn, or to dissuade athletes from participating in strikes for Colin Kaepernick and things like that. I mean, you start to ask questions about why is some music and some musicians allowed to make it and others you might never hear from, not because of the quality of their music, but because of their political views. Corporations, absolutely. Did I see it? Oh, sorry.
Hi, Alexander King Sofiakis. Roger, I just wanted to thank you both for me and my mother. My mother, she lost her uncle, or sorry, my uncle, her brother, to heroin overdose, and your old version of Comfortably Numb got her through that. And then for myself, living in the 10th Congressional District, challenging Brad Schneider, there's a lot of Zionists in my district, and so hearing your modern reinterpretation of Comfortably Numb, especially after seeing a whole family die and know that that family died because of my own representative's vote to send that bomb, my whole family, the whole Keating Sofiakis family, thank you for every little strength you give. And especially because you're not the type to just say, oh, give me more love and give me more money. You're the type to say, oh, you want to show things? Go out in the world and save lives. Go out in the world and fight for other people. And so for that, I just want to say I'm immeasurably grateful for you.
Oh, bless you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'll just jump in quickly. My name is Chuck. I'm aware that you're involved in the September 11 Truth Movement. You're going to be presenting in the 25th anniversary. The Green Party actually has a plank that calls for investigations for the truth about September 11th. Why is that a relevant issue for the Green Party? If you care to speak to it, otherwise you can go silent.
Oh, me? It's very hard for me to go silent. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a whole different conversation, but it's very important to me that 25 years later, we have an opportunity now to try and find out something about the truth of what actually happened on September the 11th, 2001, with the North and South Tower and Building 7 of the World Trade Center, because we all know for absolutely certain sure that they did not fall down because aeroplanes hit them or aviation fluid was burning, and it had nothing to do probably with Osama bin Laden or Mohammed Atta or any of the rest. They were controlled demolitions. We need to know who did it and why, because a lot of innocent people died, not least the firefighters, and I care about them and their families and the 3,000 people who died in the building, but also the millions who have died since in the war on terror, and how all the fundamental laws of the United States of America were changed by that day. And it was a false flag. It was the Pearl Harbor. And let's see let's hear the evidence. I'll say no more.
Thank you. We have another one. I know where the mic. Oh, sorry. Oh,
Yes. Hi, I'm Ellen Corley, and I really appreciated Roger Waters organizing us around the Julian Assange case. I remember seeing you on Facebook or Twitter, and you said join our group, Google group, and people didn't believe that was really you asking me to do that. But the other thing I wanted to say is I admire if you could speak to the 9/11, your legal case. I know you gave $100,000 to get this case before this kind of the Supreme Court in the UK, and it's an important time. I tried to give $50 for that because I know you need to raise 150,000 to make this case, and so maybe if you could speak to how important it is and what we can do to help.
Well, I thank you so much for that. I would love to do that, but this isn't really the forum for it. So but yes, it's very important. And please give money to Matt Campbell, who's running a crowdfunder, in order to do that. But I will just say this. The reason that I had a conversation last week with Tucker Carlson about 9/11 was because back in 2020, it was March the 6th, he was the only person in the mainstream media who would allow me, this old bass player, to go on mainstream television. He worked for Fox News at the time, to make a plea for the release of Julian Assange. And I've never forgotten that Tucker did that, and it colours my view of everything he's done since, really. And I had a good conversation with him last week, and if you're interested in the question, go and watch it. It's on YouTube.
All right. And that's why I'm going on Piers Morgan on Monday. Sometimes that's who lets you do it. Okay, 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time, Roger.
So Roger, Medea Benjamin here, sending you much, much love. And
hey, babe.
Great. Great to see you. So
Great to see you.
I understand artists like you being really disgusted by AI-generated music, but I wonder what you think of the Iranian explosive media Legos with United States of Israel. That's your resume, killing people every day. It's just great music.
Well, you may be right about that, or you may not be. I have no opinion about the music in those Lego. I did see them, some clips in the thing that Max Blumenthal put out the other day, where he interviewed the guy who's made all those Lego movies. And I think they're fascinating, and I hope they do some good, because I like people who stick up for their brothers and sisters, and anybody in the state of Iran who is resisting the attempt by the United States of America and Israel to destroy their country, I stand with them 100%.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And the last one's right behind you, our congressional candidate. Yeah, it was you. It was you.
On that note, my 3-year-old knows who Haydar is from those Iranian videos, which is awesome. So
that's
I
cool.
also have issues with AI, but she knows who Iranian heroes are. And I wanted to bring up, people are asking for new music, but there's music from all sorts of different cultures, protest, fight music coming out. There's a really awesome post-pop synth Yemeni tribal song honoring the naval forces of the Ansar Allah. It's fucking dope. Yeah, and I was like, me and my, like this winter, imagine 4 white boys in a Subaru blasting DMX, just ready to go suck down tear gas and fight ICE agents. So just look to other cultures. But Roger, any other cultures that you like to pull from when you're looking for inspiration, something outside? Maybe there's also Ireland, a lot of good fighting songs from our homies in the IRA. Say again? Yeah, there you go. Los Prisioneros.
No, cool. Sorry.
Roger, this is such a surreal moment. We've grown up listening to your music. We've learned your songs before we even learned English. And thank you for being the example of the artist who does not separate between art and conscious. And you have set the example and the price, the sacrifice that ought to be paid by an artist to be true to his conscience forever in the history of art. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's the last of us. Questions from the audience. Roger, I want to give you an opportunity to say anything as we close out, but thank you again for your time with us today.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm being told there's one online question. So sorry about that.
Go on then. What
Can we
is
ask-
it? What?
What? Are you guys gonna read it? Oh, okay. All right, Alan, shoot. Oh, he's still muted. Or they're still.
Unmute Alan.
Let Alan speak.
Let
For-
him. Oh, there he is.
For
Can't
some reason,
hear
I
him.
can't hear you, Alan.
We can't hear him. We can't hear him.
He says it's okay. He's being so generous. Maybe if you type it in, Alan. Oh, he's gonna type it in.
Yeah, Alan said.
I know.
okay.
First, sounds like you're.
Good, Alan. Alan's wearing a silly hat. I love it, Alan. What's the fucking question? It's a beret. Is that a beret, Alan? I think it is. Wait. Hang on. He's typing as fast as he can. Come on, Alan.
Do we see it yet?
No, I can't see anything, but I'm sure somebody can.
How's Tech Corner? Can you guys see it?
It's a lovely moment in sport, anyway.
All right. We might have to let that go, but thank you for the attempt, Alan. Sorry that we were foiled by technology. Roger, the last word goes to you.
Yeah.
Any closing remarks as we skedaddle here?
Yeah, I love you all, everyone in that room. And obviously Jill and Butch and Briahna and blah blah blah, and do not give up without a fight. And you are not giving up without a fight. You are fighting. I feel it, and it is a fight. But all we can do is stay in it, and we can win this fight. We can turn this ship around. We can save this planet from these murderous arseholes. Not just the Israelis and the US government, but everybody who doesn't understand that this planet cannot be ruled. It can be shared. Okay? That's what we have to learn, is we have to learn to share this planet.
Big applause here in the room. Big applause here in the room. I hope you feel the love that's coming back your way, Roger.
Okay.
It's so appreciative. The choir is here. This really does feel like church.
Okay.
Thank you so much for calling us all in and for inspiring us all of these years. Thank you, Roger.
All right.
Applause for Roger.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to leave now and go to dinner. Love you guys.